Like the question in and of itself is you might think the question in and of itself is stupid, right? Sean the Black, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. You might think the question in and of itself is stupid. It's not. The reason why he's asking that question is because he wants her to respond to it to counter the narrative that's out.
Our ABC News exclusive. Joining us now is Jennifer Vasquez of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who was wrongfully deported to El Salvador and is at the center of a legal battle playing out in the courts. And Jennifer, we want to thank you for joining us this morning on GMA.
Yeah, they said the marijuana leaf is an M, the smiley face is the S, the cross is a 1, and the skull is a 3. That's what they're saying.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate you joining us. And we saw that Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, he flew to see your husband Wednesday. He released a photo of the two of them last night. What was it like for you to see that photo?
It was very overwhelming. The most important thing for—
How would a skull be a 3 and a cross a 1? Dude, it doesn't matter. It's not chatters. It's all bullshit. That's my point. It's not, there is no logic behind it beyond I said so. And now the president is also saying so. It's kind of similar to Israel claiming Hamas-run health ministry. Their numbers are fake in the aftermath of the El Ahly hospital courtyard bombing that Israel also claimed initially was Hamas, and then they said it was Palestinian Islamic Jihad. No evidence that they presented was actually real in the process. And then the Biden administration came out and said the exact same things. And then lo and behold, once Biden said it, the media ran with it aggressively. It's just the same thing happening right now. The exact same thing happening right now. They're just grabbing onto whatever they can to disparage victims in this process.
For me, my children, his mom, his brother, his sibling, was to see him alive. And we saw him alive.
Yeah,
it was very, very overwhelming.
Yeah, I think for all of us, we were all happy.
Yeah, by the way, this already happened against Haitian immigrants. Documented temporary protected status recipient Haitian migrants living in Ohio were falsely smeared as stealing cats and dogs and eating them. Remember? And then what did they do? They just kept doubling down over and over again. JD Vance literally said, JD Vance literally straight up openly admitted, yeah, even if we are embellishing a little bit, it's good because it's getting people to focus on the stories that we want to tell. Those guys won the election. That's where we're at. So the expectation was going to be different once they're in office is silly, you know? Anne yine bir şey mi aldın? Ne? Ne alıyorsun? Okay. Dur, hayır, text attım kodu. My mom is buying stuff on my debit card.
To see him alive. And what were you told your husband said in that meeting?
Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
What were you told your husband said in that meeting?
It was just a message of love.
So tell me a little bit about your husband. How long have you two been together, and what has your life been like with him?
We've been together over 7 years. It's been amazing. He's very a loving husband, an amazing father. No. And we were just young parents trying to live the American dream.
And we know you were living that dream until March 12th. That's when your husband was detained and sent back to El Salvador. Can you tell us what happened as you
I find a recent smear of Jill Stein using the lib talking point. Where is she reprehensible? It's not a lib talking point. It's my talking point, and I'm not a liberal. She has been organizing many pro-Palestine protests, and you linked her Twitter activity as some gotcha when it's more radically pro-Palestine than yours is, let alone AOC. Yeah, you're right. Jill Stein is more pro-Palestine than me. You're totally correct.
Understand it. And how did you learn about his detainment?
It's just crazy because I was on April 5th. On April 5th, I was at the march. I didn't see her there. Maybe she was. I'm serious. Maybe she was there. Maybe she was busy setting up the next protest or something.
As it's been 37 days since March 12th, since my husband was abducted. It's been an emotional roller coaster, honestly. But just knowing right now that he's alive, you know, that day he was with our 5-year-old child, and we've continued, our faith has grown, and I keep him in my prayers to bring him back home.
And how did you learn that he was detained?
He made a phone call to me, and what we thought was a regular traffic stop was not a regular traffic stop.
And we know that the administration, they're resisting a court order to bring your husband back to the U.S. They say your husband's a member of the MS-13 gang. Is he a member of the MS-13 gang or any other gang?
No, he's not.
And I know this is a sensitive question, but I have to ask it. You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay, and you know, I'm not going to push on that apparently. But how much hope do you have that you
What the
fear of your husband? Okay.
Yeah. Also, because of the delay that they had in this interview, look at these guys. When I say they're grasping at any straw they can, this is what I mean. Look at this. 57,000 likes, bro.
You did take out a temporary order of protection against your husband in 2021. Were you in fear of your husband?
My husband is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay, and you know, I'm not going to push on that apparently.
There's massive delay, and she's barely picking up what he's putting down the entire time from the start of the interview. But if you cut it for the in a beautifully cut 24-second clip, if you clip it out of context, without ever considering why she would literally demand the return. Like, the question in and of itself is you might think the question in and of itself is stupid, right? Sean the Black, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. You might think the question in and of itself is stupid. It's not. The reason why he's asking that question is because he wants her to respond to it to counter the narrative that's out there. Okay? That's the reason why he's asking that question. Because everyone is claiming that this is, this guy's a wife beater or whatever. And it's ridiculous because she has already given numerous quotes on this. In a Newsweek exclusive, she talked about it a couple days ago when Newsweek reached out to her originally about the administration releasing this restraining order that she had filed. And so her having this back and forth here and not really understanding what he's saying because of, I assume, audio issues and the delay, as you can see in all of her answers, was enough for the End Wokeness account to blast this and to make it seem like this woman, who is, for the past couple of weeks, actively and prominently demanding the return of her, is secretly excited that her husband was deported because he is a wife beater, a domestic abuser. This does not make any fucking sense. If she was excited that he was deported, don't you fucking think that she would at least not say anything about it? Why would she be even entertaining these interviews? Why would she even go out? If she was like, yeah, this is a bad guy and a fucking gang member and a wife beater to put the cherry on top, why the fuck is she like, yeah, this bad guy who's a gang member who's also beating me all the time, I want him to come back? And
you know, I'm not going to push on that apparently. But how much hope do you have that you're going to be reunited with your husband? And what keeps you and your family going?
A lot of hope. And
like, she misunderstood the question. I think he was like, are you in fear of your husband's conditions? Because it doesn't make sense how she responded to it.
And this fight still continues for Kilmar, for all the other Kilmars out there whose voice haven't been heard yet. I won't stop fighting until he returns home, until I know that he's safe.
And if you could get your husband a message, what would you like to tell him right now?
I would tell him that I love him, and I'm gonna still keep praying for him until he returns, and I will continue fighting the community.
And she can't say she wasn't afraid because that would make her perjuring herself from back when she applied the protective order. No, she already has said that. And no, she wouldn't be perjuring herself at all. Here, I'll give you the Newsweek quote. Does anyone have it, chatter? Does any chatter have the Newsweek quote that she gave? No, that's not how it works. Conditions change, chatters. You're wrong. And ABC News itself, I guess, added context to her answers here. But here, this is it. This is what I was talking about. Exclusive. Abrego Garcia's wife responds after a restraining order revealed. In an exclusive statement in Newsweek, Vasquez Sura responded to the DHS release of court filings. Okay. The documents included her 2021 request for a protective order in which she accused her husband of punching and scratching her, ripping her shirt, and leaving her bruised. Temporary order barred Abrego Garcia from contacting her and directed him not to harass or abuse her, according to the filings. This was in 2021. So why is she in 2025 demanding the return of this supposedly abusive person? Well, here's what the reasoning was. After surviving domestic abuse violence in a previous relationship, I acted out of caution following a disagreement with Kilmar by seeking a civil protective order in case things escalated. Things did not escalate, and I decided not to follow through with the civil court process. We were able to work through the situation privately as a family, including by going to counseling. Our marriage only grew stronger in the years that followed. No one is perfect, and no marriage is perfect. But that is not a justification for ISIS's action of abducting him and deporting him to a country where he was supposed to be protected from removal. Kilmar has always been a loving partner and a father, and I will continue to stand by him and demand justice for him, the statement adds. So why is it that nobody cares about this and they're grasping at fucking straws? It's because they want to create propaganda surrounding the issue. Okay? They want to create propaganda. They want to basically fucking fight on numerous fronts, flood the market with as much misinformation as possible so that they can justify the administration's actions after the fact.
The U.S. Supreme Court says it will...
The tattoos, the hand tattoos, knuckle tattoos, play the exact same role. The knuckle tattoos were so insignificant, so inconsequential that they were never once revealed in any of the numerous times that Abrego Garcia has gone through the court process, through the immigration court process. Do you understand? And it's the same as the rolls of money. Remember, Pam Bondi, the attorney general, and the administration came out and said that they found him with rolls of money when they actually detained him. It turns out he did not have rolls of money on him at all, as a matter of fact, but instead they misread the fucking detention report that stated that he was wearing a hoodie that had rolls of money with wings on it. They're so fucking stupid and so goddamn desperate. And if you believe them, you are a stupid, desperate person too.